doing it.
We've actually got the same last name. Because mine's Richardson Pitt, hyphen.
Are you joking?
No, serious.
This is the first.
And we're back.
You waited to drop that bomb on me now. I'm actually your dad.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my
Imagine.
God, thank God.
Matt Hale the whole time.
Matt Hale.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. The comedy interview review / fantasy land of your dreams. I hope you're well. We are here today with Blake Richardson. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. You just dropped a bomb on me before we began.
Did, just before we started.
You said we have the same last name because I thought it was always just Jamal Pitt, but you're saying it's Richardson Pitt hyphen.
Yeah, Richardson hyphen Pitt.
Can I ask why you dropped Richardson in the mud on you just threw it away and now we've just learnt this now?
Well, Dad was a meth addict.
Right, cool. Okay,
So
well, we can bond on that too
Yeah.
because I've got that.
It's in the last name, dude.
That's insane.
It's actually in the last
I reckon
name.
our fathers were actually great men. They just were like, it's tradition. It's tradition. Got to get this pipe going. We've started dark, and I like that.
I do.
Tonally.
Have you had a good day?
I've had a fucking great day, man.
Getting a
I've had
little bit lighter?
No, I've had a good time. What did I do today? I'm just in the throes of trying to keep myself free and see if I can write.
Okay.
I don't have a day job.
Free?
Keep myself I've always worked casual jobs like barista, bartending, things like that. And I was like, you know what? I've got enough money saved away. I'm doing the comedy on the weekends. I do security stuff on the weekends as well. Let me just keep my Monday to Thursday free and let's see how disciplined I can be with comedy writing. And it has gone so horribly.
I was expecting such a good story.
Dude, I'm drowning in shame and just
no.
inactive. Like just looking at my lap. I was talking to Josh Durkin about this as well. I was like, I just beat myself up because I'm like, why can't you be funny? And I'm just like sitting in front of a laptop. You know what I mean? Trying to write things. So I don't know. I'm.
Why don't you just do like crowd work on the street and just record it?
See, this
and
is why
the best.
This is why we need to talk more because that's a great idea.
Because you should I don't know, writing is fucked. And
It's
if you're
so bad.
funny, as a person anyway, and you're just funny in the moment, I think that's the best. Because most of your act anyway, it's like things that you say that end up landing at a particular time, and then you take away and work on it.
Sure, but it's, I mean, there is that, but it's also like, you've got your material and stuff like that, and then I'll take a little step off, but it's kind of leading to material. But then I might, if something really funny happens, I'll see where it goes and go down that. But it's never like crazy spontaneous. You know what I mean? It's always a little bit guided. But yeah, I think it's a good idea in terms of just how to get material rather than sitting in front of a laptop. Maybe crowd work some people, have conversations with friends. Because I just don't think I'm creative sitting in front of a laptop being like, all right, what's funny in the world? Nothing. Great.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And it's more sad than funny.
Oh, it's bad, dude.
It's bad, but it's good. It's good for people like us.
Yeah.
With AI coming in, we're the only frontier left of existence.
Have you, I'll admit it right here. I tried to use some AI to write comedy.
Yeah, of course.
It's actually got some chops.
Fucking hell.
It's like,
good.
it hasn't got the nuance, the nuance, but it throws you some good ideas where you can totally just remix and plagiarize. And that's how I've done my whole act.
You know how fucking Tony Stark has Jarvis, and Jarvis is
is
a loser really, but he knows everything.
Sure.
And it's really Tony that's creative. And he's I'm going to take this because you know everything, and I'm going to put it with this because I have that little part in the middle that's creative. That's how we should be looking at this stuff, all trying to be
You
Tony.
just blew my mind because Tony created Jarvis.
Yeah.
And here I was thinking the whole time Jarvis is really, really smart.
No.
But Tony... So hold on.
He is.
But Tony created him.
So then what's intellect?
He's just
Is it
chatting to
creativity
himself.
or-
Oh,
yeah.
that's wild.
It's surprising he didn't fall in love with it because I'm close.
You're
I'm
close
to falling in love with an AI.
Didn't Jarvis then become Vision? Is
Oh,
this
he
like a Marvel recap show? What are we doing right now?
No. Well, I think it's relevant.
Yeah, true. It
We're
is.
nerds.
Yeah,
Do you like it, Marvel?
I did.
Yeah.
Funnily
And then
enough,
you grew up.
Yeah, and then I had sex with a woman. Then my dad got a job. No, I did, man. I did in the early stages of it. And then I think it became so.
As soon as they made Black Panther.
Oh, I was
That's
just
when
like,
I was
this
like,
is
this is too
disgusting.
much.
This isn't the fucking heroes I grew up with. No, I don't know. Once Tony Stark died, and the first Avenger was cool, and the second Avenger was pretty cool, and then it's just like Ant-Man and the shoe, it's just like a sentient shoe, and it's I don't know. That's a great idea though.
We should coin that.
Coin that and
These
pitch it
cunts
to
are gonna
Kevin.
take it.
Kevin Feige, she's like the sentient shoe. Yeah, it's gone out of control. I mean, but because it used to be grounded in some sense of. Do you feel like the comic book movies were kind of grounded in some sense of reality for a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like it was obviously they had powers and stuff, but it was like real human problems they were wrestling with. You know, like with Wolverine, kind of
Nazis.
He's like, I just don't fit in. You Nazis. You know, that's a real life problem we all face. And and now it's just it's divorced from all reality. It's just totally crazy.
Yeah, no, it is really crazy. And then I guess we ended up here. Don't you reckon that art imitates life? Because everything that sort of happened in the Marvel universe will happen. Like Jarvis was the most popular AI.
Yes.
And then now we have ChatGPT, so I'm like just stringing it back.
Yeah.
That's going to become Jarvis. I've seen people like put it on their computer, have like voice recognition.
Yeah.
They go like, make me a website. And then it will make them a website like just from like one question. These people are hella smart. So the PS2 came out like what, 10, 11 years ago? That's the PS2.
Greatest console ever.
Fucking. When?
20 years ago.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah,
That's
like 20, 2003. Yeah.
Okay. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah, that was he. He
That was
sounded
pretty savage.
He sounded
Yeah, he
upset too.
sounded
It was like
hella
it's 20,
upset.
dude.
Anyway.
20 years and
20
4
years
months. But
and-
who's counting?
And 3 days.
Yeah.
And then now we have AI. So
Right.
imagine where it's going to be in another 20 years.
It's a good point, man. I mean, I just don't. I don't know if it's like just a deep sadness within me, but I just don't like. People get so concerned about like AI is gonna. I'm like, good, like kill us all.
Yeah,
like I'm fucking.
legit.
Who gives a shit? Like just like,
Yeah.
like I'm a nervous flyer, and it's like people are like, oh, the plane's not gonna crash. I'm like, I hope it does. I'm just nervous that I'm not real.
Yeah,
like they're like,
for
what?
sure. Dude, some guy was like, do you think, when I was walking down the street, he was like, do you think women should have the right to vote or something like that? And I was like, I don't even think I'm real, dude. Like, I don't even know.
That's such a good response.
He
What?
stopped handing out brochures,
Yeah,
man. He
yeah.
literally just put them in the bin and then just like walked off. I was so happy with myself. Like, I changed the guy's life, like his whole perception.
He was like, so true. We're all going to die. I'm
Yeah.
not real. Fuck these brochures. It's such a
Fuck
good
these
response. I
brochures.
mean, that's true, though. I mean, I can't remember what the original point of that was, but I don't get worried about people are like, aren't you scared about the future? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm so worried about the present moment.
Yeah, like right now.
Like I'm scared all the time of this present moment. Like, don't worry about that. Death would be a release.
I think, well, we've been dead longer than we've been alive, and I think will be the ultimate satisfaction. This is getting too
Meta.
meta, too
Yeah.
dark. Let's go back to
Sponsored
comedy.
by
right?
Meta. Anyways, yeah. Well, I mean, we're getting an insight into the dark mind, I suppose, that brought
Yeah.
all this about.
Do you think that a dark mind has brought you into the arts? Because a lot of, especially comedians,
Yeah.
have a history of like anxiety and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I don't know, man, because I mean, I come from an acting background
Mm.
in screen acting and then sort of transitioned in the last couple of years into comedy. But I mean, I think that the things that drew me to sort of the arts, like performing, acting, comedy, were all like negative reasons. It was all like, oh yeah, like negative in the sense of like, I obviously don't think I got enough attention growing up. You know, I was a pretty chubby, like weird kid.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah, all the way until I was like 18. You know, like
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, I had like inverted nipples. I was so chubby, like my tits were like folding in on itself. You know, it was
It's like
hectic.
a shiny Pokemon card. That's right.
Yeah, like a Snorlax tits. It was
Snorlax tits.
it was really wild. But then I think that kind of attention deficit. I was like, because I remember vividly fantasizing about one day like people will like girls will love me and like everyone will be like, that guy's so hot and like it was all these. And at the time, it's just my mind. I'm like, everyone's thinking this, and then you get older and you get happier and you're like, that was
Not good.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was not a
don't-
balanced thought you were having. So that kind of drew me to it. And then luckily along the way, I've kind of just fallen in love with sort of just the craft, like just actually doing the thing for the thing and getting better at it. And I've got some friends and I've
Yeah,
stopped eating butter and just,
Really?
no, not butter as a whole. Just like I was eating just pure butter. So like now I'm in
Unsalted, of course, because you're not a
unsalted. I'm not a savage, and now I'm just doing it for the sake of enjoying it, But I think like unhealthy reasons brought me to wanting to perform.
I think that's, with most things of the art. I actually had a good conversation with someone where it's like, I don't think it's necessarily these negative things that are a prerequisite. You can find people that never experience those things and end up in the arts.
Yeah.
But that energy is such a powerful force of transmutation, regardless of the art form, whether it's dance or music. Like you look at any of the most influential people in their respected domains, a lot of them come from a background of either trauma, poverty, or neglect.
Yeah.
Just not being looked at and channeling that emotion and all the feelings and thoughts that come with that creates good art. So it's not I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. I just think it's a safe haven. People like us in that manner.
I think so, man. Yeah, and I like what you said. It's not like a prerequisite, and I don't, and there is that kind of notion, I think, in the arts. I don't know if it's so much in stand-up, but it's definitely in acting where it's like you got to suffer for your art. You know what I mean? Go out there and just do as many terrible things to yourself as you can because it'll help you become an artist. And I don't really think it's, like you said, I don't think it's necessarily optimal in helping you perform at your best. Life will find you. Adversity will find you. Don't go searching for him. Oh, Papa Adversity. He's always on the lookout. He'll get you. But it's. I like what you said. It's not a prerequisite. No.
Well, speaking of the writing, going back to that, is there a particular way that you like to write? Because I know different comics have different ways of getting their ideas.
Yeah.
Is there any a particular system that you use? Or?
God, I mean, I wish I could speak with some authority on this, but I'm falling apart in the writing department trying to figure out a way. But I think that when I first started stand up, I was just going in so naive, didn't know any of the rules, didn't have any people in my ear being like, "This is what you should do," and I used to just put my phone. Sounds illegal. I used to just when I would drive long distances, I would just have voice notes up, and I would just sort of drive and rant about whatever subject I thought was funny or something. And I would just keep going. And then I would eventually stop when I ran out of ramblings. And then when I would just keep doing that. And then I would kind of re-listen over the voice notes that I'd made. And then I would kind of sift through that's kind of funny. That's a kind of funny word. Trim the fat. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I would do early on. And I kind of forgot that. And I'm only just recently getting back to that as I would have an idea. And what the concept is of the idea, for instance, it's easier to put a cat down than it is a dog. Yeah. A very simple, basic idea. And then I would be like, all right, cool. And then I'll just rant on that on a voice note and hopefully find some flow. That's sort of how I would do it.
Oh, cool. That's a good way of doing it. I've met a few people that do it that way, but yeah.
Well, they're very, very talented.
They were very
fantastic.
Good. Everyone that I know that's pretty good does it that way.
That's awesome.
But a lot of people would just get up and riff on stage, or they'll force themselves to write, which I can't do. But it's funny how it mimics almost the persona. I know a lot of one-liner comics that will just sit there and write and just keep writing, and then that translates to that one line sort of style. Yeah. And then obviously you got someone like Kyle Legacy who makes most of his riffs in the moment, and then his whole act is riffing in the moment. So it's funny how that one vector translates to the whole encompassing character of your performance. So
yeah, I think it's also something that I've been wrestling with is you can attach to there's so many podcasts, there's so many so much things on the internet about how you should write, or they're kind of this hustle and grind culture that's out there of you gotta be getting out there and writing 50 hours a day, man. You know what I mean? Doing all this crazy stuff, and you can let that can get in your head, and you're you're right. A real comic would write for 3 hours a day. What? I'm a loser. And it's that's not a fact. No, that's just something someone said. And I was chatting to another comic about this actually, and he said I read somewhere that a real comic writes 50 jokes a day. And I was like, 50 jokes a day? What is this? And he's like, so I did it for a while. He's like, I was writing 50 jokes just on anything, bins, flowers, water, haha. And I was like, dude, was it good? He's like, it was the worst thing ever. Because you're losing your individuality and sort of voice as to what you find really funny. You're just trying to
mass produce.
Exactly. And you're just trying to bring something up.
The Alibaba of the comedy lounge.
Right. Yeah. The Alibaba of the comedy lounge. That's a very specific reference. I like it.
I hate you, Alibaba.
Oh,
my
damn.
T-shirts. I don't hate him. Hate's a strong word.
Listen,
that's reserved for the ATO.
You mildly loathe Alibaba.
Mildly loathe Alibaba. That is, that's pretty good.
That's fair.
I agree with that.
Yeah, man. So you can have an imaginary boss, I think, in your head sometimes of it's an imaginary boss in your head being right 3 hours a day, and you're like, oh, so I will, boss.
Yeah, it's the Jordan Peterson perspective, right? Of you create the judge for yourself.
Yes.
That you have to reach up to, and it's the higher you place that judge, the higher your expectations of yourself, the harder it is to live.
And meanwhile, no one gives a shit.
No one cares.
And you're coming to bed moping.
You would get that as a barista.
What's that?
You were working no one cares about.
Oh, no one cares, dude. Can we talk
about the coffee?
Oh, can we talk about how little people care about baristas?
Yeah,
it's
for
insane.
Sure.
No, I mean it's not a passionate subject, but still, it's you think you're in customer. You're not, dude.
Yeah.
Like you are just a vessel, just serving
Vessel of hate.
Dolores her almond latte extra
Dolores?
hot. Dolores,
I thought that was a
dude.
car.
No.
From Back to the Future.
That's a DeLorean, but
Oh,
what I'd give to meet
nice.
someone with a DeLorean. No, it's true what you say. Like people just don't give a shit about like your whatever you think is important. You know, like, especially like in comedy. Like no one cares, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I go home and I'm like, I didn't try new tonight, and my girlfriend's like, no one cares.
Yeah,
I don't care.
The-
Let's
yeah,
have
when your
sex. I was like,
girlfriend
when I
doesn't
have a
agree.
new joke, we will have sex, but not tonight. And I just whip myself to sleep. She's like, no one cares. I hate you. I'm leaving you.
How did you go from acting to comedy? What was the shift?
I just got. I was living in Sydney. I was living in Sydney end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and I was like, I just set myself up. Just got a house. I was managing this really cool bar, and I was like, I think things are starting to happen. I had callbacks for a few projects, and then COVID hit. Right, March 2020. I moved back to Perth, and I went from like living in the hustle and bustle of Sydney to like living in my girlfriend's uncle's place in Midland. And like he had a Russian mail order bride who had like an entire room dedicated to Jesus. Like it was just Jesus, like a framed picture of like a shredded Jesus and like multiple Jesus figurines all in this room. It was like it was full on, dude. It was wild. And I had just a little Kmart clothes rack in this room, like just
Next to the
surrounded by
shrine.
Jesus. Yeah, like Jesus was watching over my clothes, you know. And because most of my clothes were still left in Sydney because I couldn't get them back and blah blah blah. And I was just so kind of down on myself and like frustrated. I was like, man, this is so unfair, as a lot of people felt. And I was like, man, acting's just like it's not fair, you know. Like I can't just control my own career. And then I started thinking about stand-up. I'd loved stand-up for my whole life, just enjoyed it. And I was like, well, I'm just going to give stand-up a go. Like, why not? You know, like, at least I'll be able to get up and do it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and so then shortly after I jumped up for 2 open mics here at the Lounge when they were running them on the Wednesday.
Long time ago now.
Yeah, it would have been 2021 or so. And did 2 open mics, and then Raw Comedy was up, and I was like, oh, I'll enter Raw. And then I just did every heat of the Raw. And
You
that
did
was my
really
beginning.
good in Raw.
Bless you, sir.
No, you did. I remember, but you didn't do the course, hey?
No.
Yeah.
I did 2. I literally did 2 open mics, and I just was like, cool. Like, I'll do what's Raw. I'll do
What's
that.
Raw? Yeah,
And then
yeah.
every heat, I was doing a different 5 minutes.
Oh, nice.
And then people, well, I mean, they weren't all good.
No,
but people were
it's
just like, you don't have to
commitment.
do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, no one told me. I thought it was new every time.
Yeah.
Don't you want to hear new jokes?
Oh, that's so funny.
You know?
No.
No.
That's not what they want.
Maybe get
Make them laugh,
maybe-
son. Make them laugh.
Yeah.
Do your best.
maybe get those ones right first.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
those are perfect. Moving on. But yeah, then after that, I got the bug. And like again, I didn't win Raw, but it was funny because on like the grand final here, I didn't win, and like usually like I'd had that experience in acting where like you get a call back and you get close, and then like you Skype with the director and you're like, oh my god, my life's about to change. It's amazing, and like you're fantasizing about all this stuff, and then you don't get it, and like no one knows about it. Like you just go back into obscurity. No one saw it. You were just auditioning in front of like a sheet with a banana as a gun, and like like it doesn't matter. And you don't want to be the guy that's been like, I got real close on a roll, and like people are like, it's cool,
This is
dude.
the banana in the frame.
Cool, dude. Where's my
moldy
fucking
now.
coffee, man? Stop telling me these things. But with stand up, even though I didn't necessarily win, like a whole crowd like enjoyed the night. Like people saw me perform. Like it didn't matter, and I got to share it with people, and I was like, that's so cool. Like there's no real losing, it's just like you get to perform, you get to
moment.
share it with people, and that's the win, and like if the crowd loved you or the crowd hated you that night, it's like it's fine. Like at least you're sharing it with people, whereas acting can kind of exist in a vacuum.
Yeah.
You're just like, look at this audition I did. You want to watch this, sweetie? And it's just like, what's the relationship here? What's this movie? I don't understand what's going on.
That's
so
a
yeah,
really good point.
yeah, it helps, man. And ever since then, I've been like addicted to sort of the fairness of comedy, I guess.
It is very fair.
Oh,
Very
it's fair,
art
dude.
form.
Yeah.
Everyone's stripped of everything almost, and it's just the most vulnerable parts of everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're running on time,
Yeah.
we'll end on the last question. I'm actually really interested on this.
Yeah.
In the coming years in your comedy journey, are there particular goals that you want to reach that you would like to share? Think as big
like
as
to
you
share.
want, as small as you want. It's totally up to you.
Man, it sounds like a really weirdly pretentious answer, but it's the truth. I made the mistake with acting where I kind of started planning and was like, I'm going to become this. I'm going to become this idea of myself. I'm going to get to this point in my career. And obviously it doesn't, like the arts, stand-up comedy, acting, it's not all in your control. That's sort of how your career progresses. So, and that kind of killed the love of it a bit. And it was just these things I made up in my head. I'm going to become a Netflix star, you know? And it kind of killed my passion for it a little bit. I still do love acting, but it hurt a bit. And with stand-up, I kind of have deliberately avoided that. Not that it's not in the sense that I'm not setting goals, but in a sense that I'm just really focusing on the craft itself, like just trying to get better at stand-up, trying to write funnier stuff, be more authentic, get better at all the various variables that go into stand-up and being a great comic, and then just letting my career be a byproduct of that, you know?
Yeah.
I still want to... I haven't gigged outside of Western Australia yet, so that's like a goal I want to do. Very achievable goal.
Yeah.
Go over there and bomb in Queensland. So yeah, that's the plan, dude.
I think you'll do well.
Yeah, this place sucks. Just, you know, Perth's way better. But no, I want to start gigging, you know, there, and then I would love to go on a tour. I just kind of want to do comedy with people I like hanging out with, you know, and just man, if I can support myself, and you know, pay my rent and have a comfortable, you know,
be a good
moderate life and be a good comic, dude. I don't care. That's awesome. That'd be sweet. I don't care if no one knows who I am, other than the G's of the scene. You know, as long as my wife doesn't leave me because I'm just, you know, a failure and I can't. You know,
that last special.
Yeah, yeah. You have no special. Fuck you. Yeah, that's my goal, man. I just want to be able to support myself and become a good comic and just enjoy hanging out with people on the scene because it's a cool job. It's a ridiculous job. It's sweet.
What a wholesome and like
I know,
mature
I
answer, man.
I wish I had an edgy answer. I wish it was like, I want to be the biggest comic in the world. I'm going to bury everyone. Nah, going to do my thing, man.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today, Blake.
Dude, thank
you.
you.
It was a pleasure.
A pleasure, Jamal Richardson Pitt.
Thank you.
The best. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Blake Richardson. Tune in next time and we'll see you soon.